Wilma Rudolph was one of America's greatest Olympic athletes. She won 3 gold medals at the 1960 Rome Olympics, in addition to a bronze medal at the 1956 Olympics in Melbourne. Hi, I'm Michael D. Lee. In 1982, my late broadcast partner Larry Kotler and I interviewed Wilma during our Saturday Sportsline program on WHO Radio in Des Moines. At the time, she was concentrating on her foundation in Indianapolis. Our conversation touched on several topics, including her views on American race relations at the time of our interview with her. Here's an interview with Wilma Rudolph on Saturday Sportsline Memories.
We're back on WHO Saturday Sportsline, 5:31 in the afternoon. We're talking now with Wilma Rudolph, and former Olympic standout, and as we were talking about during the break, the first woman to be invited to participate in the Drake Relays. What memories, if any, do you have about Drake?
Well, after coming back from the Olympics and getting all of these invitations, and I was really overwhelmed that the famous Drake Relays would invite me to come to participate and actually run. So I developed a great love there because the people were wonderful. I was fighting. It was cold, I remember that, when I was very young. And then I always went back. I've gone back a couple of other times and truly enjoyed the Drake Relays. It's one of the, I would say, the highlights because of the week of activities that go on at the same time as the race. I mean, I really enjoyed it.
Wilma, you've done a lot of running in your career. You've won a lot of awards, and now you're going on with this Wilma Rudolph Foundation. You've been involved in sports administration well before this, of course. But you also have 4 children. You were named Mother of the Year in 1981, and your present marriage status is divorced. I guess what I'm leading up to is, do you feel, with 4 kids and in your career right now, that you're a complete person, even though you're divorced?
Oh, yes. I mean, I was married for 17 years. I had 17 wonderful years of being married and being a housewife and doing all the things that one expects one to accomplish during that time. I think it's just a change. I always refer back to the phrase, even in my speeches, is nothing is forever. That's history. I am now into a new phase of my life. I have a new whole concept of life. I love being divorced with my children. It leaves me free to pursue my career. And my children are old enough that I can be away a lot more.
When did you realize that you wanted to change your life, do something new with it?
Oh, I would say about maybe 6 years ago. I've now been divorced maybe 4 years I've been divorced now. I've never felt better. Of course, there are some handicaps. When I was divorced, I was, 40. And, of course, you're frightened. You don't know what to do. I've never dated, from the time I left high school. I was married. That's a little bit frightening for you. But, your children are wonderful. They've been supportive. My family's been supportive. And then I find there are a lot of people out there that care about me as a human being.
Former Olympic great Wilma Rudolph on the line with us on WHO Saturday Sportsline. Our numbers 282-5111 for Des Moines and surrounding suburbs. The toll-free statewide Watts line elsewhere in Iowa, 800-532-1111. Outside the state, 515-282-5120. And out-of-state calls must be paid for in advance. To kind of look over your achievements, in the Olympics, you won third in the 4x100 relay at Melbourne, Australia in 1956. The Rome Olympics, of course, 3 gold medals, the 100 and 200 meter dash, and the 4x100 meter relay. I guess going back to the Rome Olympics, what do you remember most?
I would say the people. I remember the people because they were simply wonderful. They were enthusiastic. It was overwhelming to be able to walk into a stadium and they had grown fond of me. And to hear my name chanted, by thousands and thousands of people, was truly magnificent. You just really can't believe it until it actually happens to you.
Well, I would also guess that it had to bother you in 1980 when the U.S. did not participate in the Olympics because of politics.
Well, it did. To be very honest, I've always known the politics were in the Olympics. After I grew up, of course. When I first started, I was as naive as everyone else. But in our country, it didn't show. I mean, it wasn't something that was up front. It was sort of swept underneath the table from the standpoint of being political. My heart was overwhelmed for the youth because, see, I've been in that position. And to try to pursue a dream, because we do advocate a freedom of democracy, making a choice about something you're wanting it and pursuing it, and to have it taken away was quite crushing for most of the youth that was supposed to have gone in 1980. But on the other hand, being an adult, I was in the position of understanding the whys, but not necessarily agreeing with them.
Wilma, you're in the forefront of amateur athletics, promoting amateur athletics for young people in Indianapolis. Rather unique for, I don't mean to harp on this, but I know Indianapolis, it's basically a white, middle-class, Republican type of city, because I've been there lots and lots of times. But do you feel over the years of winning awards and being in athletic administration and helping out people as you do now that your lot is better as a whole, that you've bettered your lot for other black women such as yourself by doing what you've done?
Oh, well, I hope so. I think everybody that is in the limelight would like to be the best role model that they can be. I mean, we're not the people that sort of push ourselves there. It's just the kind of thing that happens. And since it has happened to me, I would like to be positive for women that would like to pursue a goal, that would also like to pursue, I would say, marriage and a career. So I have sort of gone the gambit, if you understand what I'm saying. I've experienced a little bit of all of it. The thing that makes me a little bit more different and that I stay in demand is that I'm quite honest about the things that have happened throughout a lifetime. And I think that things that in anyone's life, you'd like to change some of them, but there's nothing we can do about them. But we can learn something and continue to be positive and continue to pursue. So hopefully I have helped a lot of people.
You've been on the road a lot as a spokesman for Minute Maid and spokesman for various organizations, including your own Wilma Rudolph Foundation. So traveling around the country over the past 20 years or so, and traveling, of course, as an athlete, what is the attitude of this country toward minority athletes in particular? Do you think it's changed any over the past few years as we've had a larger influx of them in all professional and college sports?
Oh, of course, I think it has changed, but...
For the positive?
Oh, positive, yes. But to be very honest, that sporting world is a strange world. Of course, in some sports, in the earlier years, they would have felt a lot of racial discrimination and not being able to stay in hotels and splitting up the team and etc. If I have been shown any of that, it's been only in my country. But I can say that the people in the United States have been wonderful to Wilma Rudolph. They have always loved me, and they've always shown it openly. For instance, I went to a ceremony last night here. We had the White River Parkway Games, and they had the opening ceremony last night. And I'm always being kissed by the people that just have watched me or heard of me for years. So if I'm kissed one time a day, I'm kissed 50 times daily. But it's not from the standpoint that they're getting out of line, that someone's being fresh. It's a genuine love that they have for me. So I've been quite fortunate, and I'm glad that I can have that kind of effect on people 25 years later.
Wilma, your achievements in the 1960 Olympics were incredible, but even with that, it still took 20 plus more years for people to start to accept women as top-notch athletes. Do you think now that women are starting to get the recognition they deserve for their athletic achievements, or not?
Well, I think we still have to work real hard in the arena to make sure that black women get the same kind of publicity, that they are all accepted the way that I was. Okay? That has not happened yet. It reassures me when I think about it, Larry, that 20 years ago that I was not totally insane for having such a great love for track and field.
If you were to talk to an Olympic athlete today and try to tell that person, whether it be he, she, black or white, what to expect out of Olympic Games, because obviously you've got the politics that play a part of things, and it's obviously a very different experience from just running in the, for instance, the NCAA track and field championships. What would you tell that person to expect?
Oh, I would tell them to expect, to be very honest, Larry, an experience that only they will be able to walk away and tell about, because it is something different and unique for all of us. And we all review it differently. But I would tell them in entering it to grasp all that they can, because it is just the tip of the iceberg, and to continue to pursue, because there's so many things there that are positive that can affect one's life, that you have to be sure that about what you'd like to do once you enter that arena. And it should be pursuing your educational goals. And the Olympics is the place to enhance anything you want to do on any phase in one's life.
Wilma, coming up on July the 23rd, there is a track meet which is in your name. It's the Wilma Rudolph Invitational Track Meet. It's going to be held at the IU track, Indiana University track, on July the 23rd. Tell us about the program that you've got set up in Indianapolis a little bit and where it's going.
Well, hopefully we will be a feeder system for all of the various amateur outlets in the United States, like, for instance, the AAU Junior Olympics, the National Sports Festival, the Olympics long range, of course. But we have a development portion of the Wilma Rudolph Foundation where we feel it's vitally important that you take the youth. We take them at 5. I'm a little bit partial to kids, and I love them at that young age. So we bring them in around 5 years old, and we start working with them and developing their skills. And 5-year-olds, they have more fun than anything else. You can't develop a 5-year-old, but you can motivate him to be able to pursue, to think about his education, think about going to school, and all of those little things that would make up a total individual as they grow older. The track meet portion, the Wilma Rudolph Invitational, we have coming up. From the standpoint of the kids that are there, we didn't cream, and we try not to do that in the foundation, but we have selected about 40 of the youth that range from 14 and up and put together a club. And the way we did that, we tried to set some minimum standards and let them have different kinds of races, and to try to critique them on a daily basis. We're trying to work our program from the standpoint of follow up and follow through. And I mean that by staying with the kids, doing the statistical work, getting them placed, doing a little bit of research with them from the standpoint of their education, going from junior high to high school, and trying to get them into universities, the ones that would like to pursue the college end. The others, we try and get them jobs, and we try to help in a million different ways with the Wilma Rudolph Foundation.
Wilma, final question that I have. I sense in this country more of an awareness now that sports is just one part of life, whereas a few years ago I would have told you that I felt that a lot of people maybe take sports a little too seriously. But do you sense that trend too?
Well, Sometimes, yes. I say that it's okay in taking it serious as long as the youth know that and you're honest with them from the very beginning, to let them know that it's a very short period in one's life, that you have to go for the goal, and that's my expression. You have to go for it. You have to be able to walk away from it, no matter what happens when it's over. But you have to build some kind of solid foundation while you're there to go after the other things in one's life once that career is over.
Okay, Wilma, final question that I have. What's next in your life?
What's next?
First, you're going to get some more sleep.
Yes.
you just got in. You just got in this afternoon, so I know that you're exhausted.
Well, what's next? Of course, I'm looking forward to 1984. Yeah.
Well, I mean longer range.
Long range?
Yeah.
Oh, long range. To be very honest, Larry, long range, the Wilma Rudolph Foundation is my legacy. I have all of my life, I have wanted to be able to start a foundation for the youth. I have always wanted to start it in one place, and I've been able to make that accomplishment in Indianapolis. But I would also like to pursue and satellite it around the country. So, long range, that is my goal, to be able to satellite it in various cities around the country so that I can sort of spread the word with the youth from the standpoint of pursuing goals, determination, and inspiration, and building a solid foundation educationally for the youth.
Wilma Rudolph, you're quite a lady. Thanks for joining us this afternoon on Saturday Sports Live.
Thank you.
13 before 6. We'll be back to wrap things up in just a moment.
Thinking back on the interview with Wilma Rudolph nearly 40 years later, I remain impressed with her grace, earnestness, and humility. She was truly an American treasure. Unfortunately, Wilma was taken from us way too early, succumbing to cancer in November 1994. But her legacy remains secure as an athlete and as a human being. For Saturday Sportsline Memories, I'm Michael D. Lee.